My name is Laura, and I'm 26. Last Thursday, I was sitting on the couch when my boyfriend, Nate, 24, dropped a bomb I wasn't prepared for. We'd been together 3 years and had lived together for the past 18 months. He was scrolling through his phone, and I noticed the familiar Bumble interface. My stomach sank, but I stayed quiet. "Hey," he said without looking up, "I think we should see other people." I paused my game. "What?" "I've been thinking about it," he said. "We're young. We should explore our options." He finally looked at me. "But we can still live together, like roommates. Makes financial sense." I stared at him. He was already back to swiping. "You're on dating apps already?" "Yeah," he said casually. I wanted to see what's out there before bringing it up. "There's actually this woman, Lexi, who seems really interesting." The casualness hit differently. No tears, no emotional speeches, just this. "So, you want to break up but keep living together?" I asked. "It's not breaking up exactly," he said. "More like transitioning. We can still be friends. Splitting rent in this market is insane. This way we both win." I leaned back. "Interesting idea." He smiled, relieved. "Right? So mature of us. Oh, and we obviously need some ground rules about bringing people over." He kept talking, but I had already checked out mentally. Here's the thing. The apartment was mine. I'd rented it for 2 years before he moved in. His name wasn't on the lease. He just Venmo'd me his half each month. "Sure," I said when he finally stopped talking. "Let's do it," he beamed, returning to swiping. I went back to my game, but I wasn't really playing. I was planning. Friday morning, Nate left for work, still buzzing about his match with Lexi. He'd already lined up a date for Saturday night. "You're being so cool about this," he said, grabbing the coffee I had made him like always. "Well," I said, "I'm not your ex. I'm your roommate now, right?" "Exactly." He kissed my cheek out of habit, then laughed awkwardly. "Old habits." The second he left, I got to work. First, I called my landlord, Gary, to explain the situation. "So he wants to be just a roommate now," Gary said, sounding amused. "Yep. Which means I need an actual roommate. Someone on the lease who can legally pay rent. He's not on the lease, never was. Just been sending me his half." "Uh-huh. Want to add someone new?" "I'll need to run background checks, credit reports, standard stuff." "Perfect. I'll have someone by Monday." Next, I posted on 3 roommate finder sites. Room available immediately in 2BR apartment. $850 per month, utilities included. Must be okay with cats. Professional males preferred. Why males? Because I knew exactly how Nate would react to me living with another woman. Then came the furniture inventory. When Nate moved in, I already had a fully furnished apartment. Over time, he convinced me to upgrade things. We bought a new couch together. Me, 70%, him, 30%. Same with the dining table, TV stand, and coffee table. I pulled up my banking app and did the math. Total spent. I had paid $3,400. Nate contributed $1,100. I texted my buddy Jerome. "Still looking for furniture? Got some stuff for sale." By noon, I had 14 responses to my roommate ad. I scheduled 5 viewings for that evening while Nate was at yoga. The third candidate was perfect. Kofi, 28, software developer, stable job, excellent credit, available to move in immediately. I made it clear. My ex-boyfriend still lives here, but we're transitioning to a roommate situation. That cool? He shrugged. "Long as the drama stays minimal, I'm good." My last place had 3 couples. This sounded peaceful in comparison. We shook hands. I told him he could move in Monday. Saturday morning, while Nate was getting ready for his date with Lexi, Jerome came by with his truck. We loaded up the couch, coffee table, and TV stand, all the pieces I had paid the majority for. Nate came out of his room in a towel. "What's happening?" "Oh, Jerome's buying some furniture. I figured since we're roommates now, I should downsize my stuff. Make it fair." His face scrunched. "But where will we sit? I've still got my old futon in storage, and you can always buy your own furniture for the common areas. That's what roommates do, right?" He watched speechless as we carried out the TV stand. The 65-inch TV, fully mine, went into my bedroom. "This is ridiculous," he finally said. "Why? You want a roommate situation? I'm just making it official." Saturday night, Nate went on his date. I put up the roommate wanted sign in the building's lobby and on our door. Yeah, petty, but effective. He came home around 11 p.m. to find Kofi and me assembling his desk in the living room. "Who's this?" His voice was sharp. "Oh, this is Kofi. He's moving in Monday." "Kofi, this is Nate, the other roommate." Kofi waved. "Hey, nice to meet you." Nate pulled me into the kitchen. You got a roommate without telling me. You didn't tell me before you started shopping for my replacement on Bumble. Besides, I need someone who can actually be on the lease. Legal protection, you know. I live here. You do for now, but you're month to month. No lease. Kofi is signing a real agreement. His face went red. Where's he sleeping? The second bedroom. That's my room. Was. You can share mine. Wait, no. We're not together. Guess you'll need to figure that out. The futon in the living room is pretty comfortable. He stormed off, calling his mom to rant about how unreasonable I was being. Sunday was tense. He tried to hold a house meeting about rules for guests, cleaning, and quiet hours. Kofi, who'd stopped by to drop off boxes, looked confused. Didn't you two date until Thursday? Now we're just roommates, I said. He's between situations. Kofi and I are on the lease starting tomorrow. Your guest. The reality hit him then. I could see it in his eyes, but instead of backing down, he doubled down. Fine, I'll sign a lease too. Gary already ran your credit when you first moved in. Remember, you didn't qualify then. Doubt that's changed. It hadn't. His credit was shot from shopping and student loans. Why he'd moved in with me in the first place. Couldn't qualify for his own place. On day, Kofi officially moved in. He was a great roommate. Clean, quiet, had his own furniture, and respected boundaries. We converted the living room into a shared workspace since I'd sold the couch. Nate was livid. Where am I supposed to relax? He complained. Your room, Kofi suggested helpfully. Or maybe get a chair. Nate found something to complain about every hour. Kofi's cooking smelled too strong. His keyboard was too loud. He was in the bathroom too long. Classic territorial behavior from someone realizing they'd lost control over shared space. Tuesday, I went on my date with Lucas. Incredible night. He was genuinely interested in my hobbies, laughed at my dumb jokes, and didn't spend the entire dinner on his phone. Coming home, I walked past the living room and froze. Nate had invited Lexi over, his new Bumble match. They were making out on the futon that had once been mine. Hey, I said, walking past them toward the kitchen. Oh, Laura, heads up, I said, gesturing to Kofi's futon. He brought it from his old place. Might want to ask before using his stuff. Lexi looked uncomfortable. I thought you lived alone, she said. I live with roommates, Nate said quickly. This is one of them. I stepped in. Her ex. He wanted to see other people but keep living together. I'm the ex who pays the actual rent. Nice to meet you. Lexi extracted herself pretty quickly after that. Why did you do that? Nate hissed. Do what? I asked, leaning against the counter. Tell the truth like that? If you're embarrassed by the situation, maybe reconsider your choices, I said calmly. Wednesday, reality started hitting Nate hard. He realized he couldn't afford his own place. He couldn't qualify for a lease on his own, and all his manipulations, dating someone he barely knew, had alienated his safety net. Me. His belongings were confined to one room, while Kofi and I had taken over the common areas. He tried calling friends for crash space, but he'd burned those bridges before, always overstaying, never contributing, eating their food. His mom lived 3 hours away. His dad wasn't in the picture. Thursday morning, exactly 1 week after his announcement, I gave him notice. Per state law, you have 30 days to vacate. You're not on the lease, so this is your official notice as a month-to-month tenant. He laughed. You're not serious. Dead serious. Kofi needs the space. 3 adults in a 2-bedroom isn't working. You can't just kick me out. I live here. You do. For another 30 days, unless you want to leave sooner. I'll even help you move. The next 2 weeks were something else. Nate cycled through every manipulation tactic in the book. Anger. You're such a monster. 3 years together and you throw me out like trash. My response? I calmly replied. You threw us out for a Bumble match. I'm just following your lead. Bargaining. What if I pay more rent? $500. Kofi pays $8 and $50, and he's on a lease. Plus, you still owe me for this month. Love bombing. Making his favorite meals. Buying his preferred beer. Wearing my old t-shirts around the apartment. I stayed polite but distant. Thanked him for the food, then ate in my room while video chatting with Lucas. Guilt trips. I have nowhere to go. You want me homeless? You have 2 weeks left. Maybe Lucas has space. How's that going, by the way? Lexi had ghosted him after the awkward futon incident. The pettiest part? I started living my best life loudly, cooked elaborate meals with Kofi, had friends over for game nights, went on dates with Lucas, who turned out to be amazing, emotionally available, financially stable, and genuinely interested in a partnership. Nate spent most nights in his room, frantically apartment hunting on his phone. Every viewing fell through. Bad credit, insufficient income, no references. Finally, he tried the nuclear option. Day 23 of the notice period, I woke up to find my acoustic guitar missing, the vintage Gibson my grandfather had left me. I knocked on Nate's door. "Where's my guitar?" "What guitar?" He smirked from his bed. I stayed calm. "The Gibson from my room." "Never seen it," he said. I knew he had it. He knew I knew. Classic hostage tactic to negotiate. I smiled instead of exploding. "Okay, no problem." I went back to my room and made a call. "Hey, Gary." "Yeah, the landlord." "Quick question. If someone steals from another tenant, that's grounds for immediate eviction, right?" "Police report. Sure, you can file one." "Oh, and you still have his background check from before? The one with the shoplifting charge?" "Interesting, thanks." Loud enough for him to hear. 10 minutes later, the guitar was back in my room. "Found it," he said brightly. "It was in the closet." "Cool. By the way, I talked to your mom. Told her you needed a place to stay. She's expecting you this weekend." His face went white. "You called my mother?" "Yeah, she's lovely. Very concerned about your housing situation. Said she cleaned out your old room." Nate had told everyone he'd moved out because his mom was toxic and controlling. The reality? She just expected him to pay rent and do chores. The horror of admitting failure, losing independence, and relying on me financially was too much for him. He was gone by Saturday, packed into his beat-up Corolla, muttering about how I'd regret everything. Nate's been gone 8 weeks now. The apartment is peaceful. Kofi is an excellent roommate, pays rent on time, cleans up after himself, and his girlfriend makes incredible samosas. Lucas and I are officially together. He communicates his needs instead of expecting me to mind read, a revolutionary concept. Through mutual friends, I heard that Nate is living with his mom, working at the same retail job he had in high school. He's still swiping on dating apps, but now his bio says, "Must have your own place." He texted me about a month ago, "I hate you." I replied, "K." He tried again. "We could have worked it out." "You threw away 3 years," I replied. "You threw it away for a woman you'd never met. I just cleaned up the mess." The craziest part? He really thought he could demote me from girlfriend to roommate financial support while dating around. Like I'd just accept it, pay his bills, and let him bring randos home. The entitlement was staggering. He wanted to be single when it benefited him. Dating, freedom, but taken when it benefited him. Housing, financial support, emotional labor. Lesson learned. When someone tells you what they want, believe them. Then give them exactly that. He wanted a roommate situation. He got one. With all the reality that comes with it, credit checks, lease requirements, and the understanding that roommates don't owe you anything beyond basic courtesy. Kofi and I are throwing a housewarming party next week. Finally got a new couch, one nobody has to calculate percentages for. Sometimes the best revenge is just letting people experience the consequences of what they ask for.